Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello student, good morning. How are you this morning? I hope you are always happy and always healthy. And before I start my explanation today, come we reciting basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I wish by doa I can start and you can understand my explanation today well. Okay, student, I want to remembering you before we move to our lesson. Don't forget to read down my explanation to record what I explain. Today, we will learn about reported speech. So, in our daily life, sometimes we will tell someone what other people said, and for doing that, we use reported speech. Do you know what is reported speech? Do you know? So, about reported speech, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, reported speech is a description of what someone has said without using the extra word used. Reported speech is the change of direct sentence or direct speech into an indirect sentence or indirect speech. And reported speech itself is usually used to reiterate what other people have said. Word or direct speech that are converted into reported speech can be in the forms of statement or statement, command or invitation or imperative, or question about yes or no question, as well as question regarding an information. So, in Indonesian language, reported speech ini merupakan sebuah perubahan suatu kalimat langsung atau yang kita sebut dengan direct speech menjadi kalimat tidak langsung atau indirect speech. Di mana reported speech sendiri ini biasa digunakan untuk menyampaikan ulang apa yang dikatakan oleh orang lain. Jadi kayak si A ini bilang ke si B, terus si B ini nyampaikan ke si C tentang apa yang si A ini katakan. Nah, ini reported speech. Nah, perkataan atau direct speech ini yang diubah ke dalam reported speech dapat berupa statement atau sebuah pernyataan, perintah atau mungkin ajakan, imperatif, atau pertanyaan berupa yes or no question, serta pertanyaan yang menyangkut sebuah informasi. Dan dapat dikatakan bahwasanya reported speech ini terbagi menjadi dua. Apa tadi? Yes, that's right. Direct speech and indirect speech. What is direct speech and indirect speech? So, the definition about direct speech and indirect speech. Direct speech or direct sentence is used quotation mark because the sentence that is written in the same as what is said. Meanwhile, indirect speech doesn't use quotation mark and undergoes change. And to distinguish direct and indirect speech, what's need to be considered is the quotation mark. So, in Indonesian language, jadi hal sederhana yang membedakan antara direct speech and indirect speech adalah adanya quotation mark atau tanda petik kutip di atas biasanya. Nah, itu yang menjadi pembeda antara direct speech and indirect speech. But, in addition, there are also other difference between direct speech and indirect speech. These include the first one is adverb of class, and the second is auxiliary verb, and then adverb of time, and also tenses. So, the first one is in auxiliary. In auxiliary, you can see this one, okay? So, in direct speech, we use is or am or are for to be, or shall or will, and can, might, must, have or has, and ought. Whereas, in indirect speech, we use was or were for to be, should or would, could, might, must, had, and ought. Jadi, dalam auxiliary atau kata bantu untuk melengkapi kata kerja utama dalam sebuah kalimat, itu di direct speech-nya kita menggunakan is atau am atau are untuk to be, dan juga shall atau will, can, might, must, have atau has, dan ought. Dimana is, am, are itu tadi itu di indirect speech-nya kita ganti jadi was atau were, and should atau would, kemudian could atau might, must atau had, dan ought. Jadi ought itu tetap ought, okay? Do you know what is different auxiliary from this? Do you know? That's right. The difference is about verb. In direct speech we use verb 1, but in indirect speech we use verb 2. We can see that in direct speech we use is or am or are, and in indirect speech we use was or were. And in direct speech we use shall or will, but in indirect speech we use should or would. And in direct speech we use can, but in indirect speech we use could. And that is also for must, have, or has, and ought. Next, the differences using adverb of place. Where in direct speech we use here, this, and that, and in indirect speech we use there, that, and thus. So in Indonesian language bisa kalian dilihat di sini, dimana di direct speech-nya kita menggunakan here untuk di sini, yang artinya here, yang artinya di sini. Di direct speech kita menggunakan there yang sama-sama mempunyai arti di sini, tapi di indirect speech we use there, and indirect speech we use here. In indirect speech we use there. And this is ini berlaku juga untuk this, dimana this ini kan artinya ini diganti menjadi that yang artinya itu, and that yang artinya itu diganti menjadi does, dimana ini juga bisa dikatakan sebagai perbedaan bentuk verb. Next, the differences between adverb of time. So in direct speech we use now, tomorrow, next, tonight, today, yesterday, and last night. And in indirect speech we use then, the following day, the following, that night, that day before, and the night before. Jadi kita bisa lihat di sini untuk perbedaan kata kerja yang menyatakan waktu, di mana now itu diganti dengan then, and tomorrow diganti dengan the following day. Karena ini perbedaannya antara kalimat langsung yang diucapkan oleh si pembicara pertama dan indirect speech atau kalimat tidak langsung yang diucapkan oleh pembicara kedua yang menyampaikan tentang apa yang dikatakan oleh pembicara pertama. Ini berlaku juga untuk yang seterusnya, like the following, that night, and blah blah. The next is the differences using tenses. So in direct speech we use simple present, present perfect, present continuous, and present perfect continuous. And in indirect speech we use simple past, past perfect, past continuous, and past perfect continuous. Do you know what is the difference from this? Do you know? That's right. This is the difference from the present and the past, where in direct speech we use present, and in indirect speech we use past. In Indonesian language, ini karena direct ini kan kalimat langsung yang artinya dia itu diucapkan oleh pembicara pertama, makanya mereka menggunakan present yang artinya terjadi saat ini. Kemudian indirect speech atau kalimat tidak langsung itu kan diucapkan oleh pembicara kedua atau ketiga atau seterusnya, dimana mereka ini menyampaikan apa yang telah disampaikan, yang artinya yang mereka sampaikan ini adalah apa yang terjadi di masa lalu. Makanya in indirect speech mereka ini menggunakan yang namanya past gitu. Next, we move to the example. Okay, you might be difficult for understanding this material, so this I have the example. For the first one is, we will call this child is bossy. the old couple side. It is direct speech. And for indirect speech is the old couple side. This they would call this child is home bossy. Do you know what is the difference from this? Nah, kita bisa lihat di direct speech atau kalimat langsungnya. Ini kan yang bilang itu adalah para orang tua, the old couple. Dan the old couple, kemudian di indirect speech-nya kita letakkan the old couple atau orang yang mengatakan ini di pertama kali. Jadi ditaruh di pertama, the old couple. Karena yang berbicara ini the old couple, kita tambahkan said that. Jadinya the old couple said that. And di direct speech ini kan menggunakan we, dimana we ini menunjukkan kepada the old couple. Makanya di indirect speech-nya kita ganti jadi they, kayak yang sebelumnya saya jelaskan, dimana we diganti dengan they. So jadinya the old couple said that they. Kemudian will, tadi ingat di direct speech will and in the indirect speech will ini diganti dengan, that's right, will diganti dengan would. Jadinya the old couple said that they would. Karena call this child isom bossy ini perkataan mereka, jadi ini tuh tidak diganti lagi karena ini tuh ibaratkan itu sudah baku gitu, jadinya tinggal ditambahin call the child is isom bossy. Jadinya yang awalnya perkataan direct speech-nya we will call this child isom bossy, old couple side, di indirect speech-nya diganti jadi the old couple side that they would call the child isom bossy. Do you understand? Okay, you maybe doesn't understand yet, so we move to second example. So look at this. The first is direct speech. The sentence of direct speech is isom bossy told the grandparent, I will go to the capital to study. And in direct speech, isom bossy told the grandparent that he would go to the capital to study. Like what I said before, siapa yang mengatakan itu tuh diletakkan yang pertama. Jadinya karena yang itu tadi isom bossy told the grandparent, makanya itu ditaruh di pertama kali, isom bossy told the grandparent. That harus ada that-nya ya, okay? Next, I itu diganti jadi I ini kan merujuk pada isom bossy, dan isom bossy ini adalah seorang laki-laki, jadi I diganti dengan he. Kemudian will, di direct speech will, dan di indirect speech diganti jadi would, makanya he would, jadinya he would. Kemudian go to capital to study, karena ini tetap ibaratkan ini tuh adalah yang memberitahukannya apa yang dia kerjakan, jadi ini tetap aja gak usah diganti, jadi tetap ditaruh go to capital to study. Jadinya kalimat direct speech-nya isom bossy told the grandparent I will go to capital to study, dan di indirect-nya kalimatnya menjadi isom bossy told the grandparents that he would go to the capital to study. I think you all understand about what is direct speech and indirect speech, and understand about the difference and the example sentence of direct speech and indirect speech. And now let's practice. Here I have 3 sentences about direct speech. I want you to make it to be indirect speech, okay? In indirect speech, what is the first sentence? That's right, that is the Lord side. So we move the Lord side to the first sentence, the Lord side. And next, what is? Okay, that's right, put that. Okay, we put that. Okay, no, what is? That's right, move I to, that's right, because I is in Indonesian language, karena I ini menunjukkan kepada the Lord, artinya diganti menjadi he, karena the Lord ini adalah seorang laki-laki, jadi kita tulis the Lord said that he. Okay, next, will. Will indirect, and in indirect we cite that is, that's right, that is would, we put would. Okay, next, the employ me. Why me? Because you, the Lord side is you and we side is me, because is in Indonesian language ini tuh merujuk kepada diri kita sendiri, karena Lord ini menunjukkan kepada kita, yang artinya ketika kita mengatakan kepada yang lain, kita itu merujuk kepada saya. Okay, the Lord said that he would employ me. Next, question number 2. Isumbosi told the princess, I will define you upon my life. Move it to the indirect speech. So we put Isumbosi told the princess in the first sentence. Okay, Isumbosi told the princess. Okay, and then we put that is right. Okay, next, I. What is in Indonesian language? I itu diganti jadi that's right. I kita ganti jadi he. Jadinya Isumbosi told the princess that he. Kemudian will tadi di dalam indirect speech diganti menjadi that's right, diganti menjadi would, and I will would, that's he would. Okay. Kemudian define you diganti menjadi that's right, define her, karena ini tuh merujuk kepada Isumbosi yang mengatakan kepada princess, dan you-nya itu berarti menunjuk kepada si princess ini, makanya diganti menjadi her, dimana her ini adalah si princess ini. Okay, next, upon his life. Kenapa upon his life? Karena di direct speech-nya kan my life, yang artinya tuh my-nya ini merujuk kepada Isumbosi, makanya diganti jadi his, karena his ini merujuk kepada si Isumbosi yang kayak verb duanya gitu. Okay, that's right. Jadinya kalimat direct speech-nya tadi kan Isumbosi told the princess, I will define you upon my life. Dan kalimat indirect speech-nya menjadi Isumbosi told the princess that he will define her upon his life. Final example, the direct speech is Isumbosi said to the princess, I will stay in your pocket and guard you from all harm. So in Indonesian language, tadi kan direct speech-nya Isumbosi said to the princess, I will stay in your pocket and guard you from all harm. Diganti jadi indirect speech. Ada yang bisa nih, gimana sih gantinya? Jadi ya diingat kalimat pertamanya lebih dulu. That's right, Isumbosi said to the princess diletakkan di awal. Kemudian ingat ditambah apa? That's right, ditambah that. Isumbosi said to the princess that. Okay. Next, I ini merujuk kepada Isumbosi, yang artinya kita ganti jadi that's right, kita ganti jadi he, karena he itu kan dianya itu dia laki-laki, merujuk kepada Isumbosi. Kemudian I will-nya ini tadi diganti jadi will di direct, diganti ke indirect jadi that's right, jadi will. Jadinya Isumbosi said to the princess that he will. Next, stay in. Okay, that's right, stay in. Your ini merujuk kepada princess, yang artinya kalau kita ganti ke indirect diganti jadi that's right, diganti jadi her, karena her ini adalah dia perempuan, dimana dia perempuannya ini menuju kepada princess. That's right. Pocket ini tetap ya, M juga tetap, kemudian guardnya juga tetap, kemudian you ini merujuk kepada si princess, yang artinya kita ganti jadi that's right, kita ganti jadi her from all harm. Jadinya yang awalnya kalimat directnya Isumbosi said to the princess, I will stay in your pocket and guard you from all harm, jadi indirectnya jadi Isumbosi said to the princess that he will stay in her pocket and guard her from all harm. And I think that's all for my explanation today and for our lesson today. And I wish you all understand what I explained today and what we have learned today. I will study hard anywhere and anytime. And I will close my explanation, our class today, with read Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you everybody. See you next week. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.